when I look at this Kuminga situation,
Yeah.
all you listeners, we love you to pieces. Please don't tell us we're making some sort of drama out of nothing for clicks. I don't even have clicks. I don't follow clicks. You and I have promised one another and our audience repeatedly, if we say it, we think it. You can think we're crazy. That's great. That's part of what we're all doing here. But please stop telling us that the Warrior drama is manufactured. Look at these guys.
Oh, it's manufactured.
We're having a pool party.
By them.
Look at these guys. So, yes, this is not outrage or anything else. This is concern for yet another high draft pick, talented young player being swallowed up by relationships within a dynasty that he has not been a part of. Jonathan Kuminga does not have a ring. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I know that he does.
Okay, it scared me.
Do you know what I mean? He doesn't.
Chris Chiozza has a ring.
Not in the way that we view NBA rings. No, he doesn't. He's been an outsider. He has been he's been out on the patio of this house while everybody else has got a seat at the dinner table. And I think that that's a very healthy concern if you're a Warrior fan for this year, because he holds a huge key, if you ask me. And what we're being told is, don't worry, we have both Draymond Green and Chris Paul to make sure that he's led in the right direction. Oh, boy. Okay. I hope that goes well.
I hope it goes well. Hopefully Chris and Draymond are too busy fighting each other to turn on Jonathan Kuminga. If you go backwards in time, the Warriors' first-round draft picks. Last year, Patrick Baldwin, not a Warrior. Kuminga and Moody, still around. James Wiseman, not a Warrior. Jordan Poole, not a Warrior. Jacob Evans, not in anything.
Not a good player.
Damian Jones, don't know where he is. Kevon Looney, still a Warrior. Harrison Barnes, not a Warrior. Klay Thompson, still a Warrior. Ekpe Udoh, not a Warrior. You see a certain pattern. Now, I'm going back to 2010, which is slightly unfair because
totally different
Ekpe
regime.
Udoh would be a 13-year vet, and it's a different regime. But what we've seen of the recent vintage of first-round picks, Baldwin gone, and Wiseman gone, and Poole gone. Kuminga and Moody, these are huge years for those two.
Huge years. Huge years. Not just even for them personally, but from what the Warriors need. Don't forget, no matter where you fell on the Jordan Poole situation, the Warriors have some production to replace. They've got points that they're going to need that aren't there anymore. Is Chris Paul going to do some of that? Sure, I guess. But Kuminga needs to do that every night. There cannot be any more DNP CDs for Jonathan. That's got to be gone. That has got to be a part of the Warrior past. And if Draymond Green and Chris Paul are in charge of being the on-court coaches to help that along, we're starting in a real tough spot, because we now have, I think, a very, very firm confirmation, if you will, that Draymond and Jonathan are not in a great spot. And Jonathan's reaction to the acquisition of Chris Paul was less than stellar.
Yes, and his reaction to the departure of Jordan Poole was
lovey-dovey.
Yeah, pretty telling in terms of gonna miss you and all the rest of it. So Kuminga is in a spot where he knows what he can possibly become, and whether or not he wants to do it elsewhere. Like, let's just assume that Jordan Poole, after everything that happened, wanted to play basketball for a different team. And let's just make that assumption as fact for this conversation. There was one way for him to go about making that happen, and that was play well. Play well and get a bag. Because even if he got the bag and they didn't trade him, well, at least you're going to make a lot of money, and you could stick it out here and figure it out from there. Jonathan Kuminga's only route is to play well, and then if it gets to a spot where he's not getting along or he's not meshing, they're going to do the same thing they did with Jordan Poole. Pay him and trade him.
Yeah. I mean, are we all in agreement here that Monte Poole's dialed in?
Yeah.
Monty's there all the time. Monty's a very, very smart man.
Well respected.
Very well respected. I think there have been a number of times I can think of throughout this last year where he said things on this radio station that had gravity. And we would play them sometimes repeatedly and go, listen to the word choice. Listen to what he's saying. I know all of you are busy. You're driving around or you're cleaning house and you've got a smart speaker on or whatever you're doing. But with regard to Kuminga and Draymond Green, lean in a little bit. This is from Steiny and Guru. Listen to what he says here.
A lot of what happened when he swung on Jordan last year, one of my first thoughts is the Warriors have a bunch of young guys on this team. This is the exact wrong kind of impression you want to see from your leader. You know what? Here's Draymond, a four-time champion, defensive player of the year, all-defensive team guy, a team leader, and he's swinging on a guy who's a lot smarter than he is, who is 9 years younger than he is. And it struck the wrong tone. And the Warriors had Kuminga and Moody and Wiseman and Baldwin and Rollins and all those guys were in training camp, and they saw this. And some of these guys are so new to the NBA, and they might be thinking, is this what leadership is? You know, so it's one of those things. It's a problem. It's a problem. And it can only be fixed by Draymond, who has to commit himself to doing that. And honestly, at this point, we're not sure that he's ready to do that. They signed him to a new contract, which sort of implies that they believe he can and will. But I think there are a lot of people over there thinking, let's wait and see how this plays out. And around the league, there are a lot more people saying, I don't know. So we're going to find out.
I don't know. And if they're wrong, 4 years, $100 million. Better be right. It better be right.
Well, it doesn't have to be right. If
no, you got to be right.
Well,
or else they're never going to have another young player be able to enter and grow in the next 4 years.
Well, they might not anyway, because
maybe
this is a team right now that is going so veteran heavy. You traded a 24-year-old for a 38-year-old. Think about that in terms of how they feel about the future of this team. They're going all in on this year, and then they're going all in on next year and the year after that. And then if Steph wants to play a fourth year after that in Draymond's year, then you can make that decision. I think it's a Draymond player option anyway. So
it is the fourth year, yes.
Right. So they're going all in on the veterans. So they're looking at the young players, and basically the message I would get if I was Jonathan Kuminga, the message is help us win now, and we'll worry about your stardom later. Right now, you be the role player we need you to be, and then when we get through a year or two, we get through this year, and if Jonathan Kuminga does what he's supposed to do, which is get better, score more, rebound more, be a real rotational piece, and he didn't get a lot of DNP CDs during the regular year,
not a lot,
but he did during the postseason.
Yeah,
and that was the biggest issue.
It's a tough message to pass along to a young fellow with a future and dreams. It's a tough message to pass along.
Well, the message is not now.
Yeah.
And you're right. That is a tough message.
Especially going into year 4. And he's like, no, that is now. Right now.
It's year 3, I think. Yeah.
Jeff in Stockton. Hey, Jeff, you're on with Willard and Dibs. What's up? What you doing?
I got to say, it's actually Joe. You guys remember my laugh.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe.
But I think I have a hot take.
Hold on. Everybody pause. Joe's got a hot take. We'll be the judge of that. Go ahead.
So, and it's simply involving the Draymond Green getting that contract. No. I firmly think keeping Dre over Jordan might have been the best choice, personally. I could be wrong, could be right. Who knows? But go simply off of one factor. We love Draymond for what reason? Defense. And if you look at him now versus, quote-unquote, him in his prime. Let's look at him back in his prime. Who would say that he could actually guard Steph? Just look at it from that point of view. He could. Personally, I think he could, and I think he could lock him down because he knows his game. He knows every way he plays. But now look at him now. I don't think in a landslide he could honestly guard Steph now. And I think that is solid.
Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna say that did not necessarily reach the line of a hot take, even though we love you, Joe. That's a hot laugh. It's definitely a hot laugh. I don't know if it's a hot take. I'll just say this. I know this isn't even what you were getting at. Draymond could never lock down Steph. Nobody can lock down Steph. The top offensive players in the world, you cannot lock them down.
Patrick Beverly locked him. You know who locked him down, right?
Dellavedova.
Step stopper.
Get out of here.
For a week.